I didn't have to no longer hide my disability. When I used to work at the other previous employee, I would hide my disability. I didn't tell them I was visually impaired until after I got the job. Because before that, I would disclose that and I never got the job. When I got hired from Goodwill, they don't discriminate. Everybody's welcome, and I felt I could be myself and I didn't have to hide being visually impaired. So it made it less stressful to work, being able to be myself and being accepted.
Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. Here, our purpose and passion are simple: to highlight the incredible nonprofits that make our communities stronger. Each episode is a chance for these organizations to tell their story in their words, sharing not just what they do, but why it matters to the people they serve, to their supporters, and to all of us who believe in the power of community. Through podcasting, we hope to amplify their voices, inspire connection, and give them one more tool to reach the hearts of donors, partners, and neighbors alike. This work is made possible through the generous support of our founding partners, CapTrust, offering fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations serving Sacramento, Roseville, and Folsom, and online at captrust.com. And Western Health Advantage, a local not-for-profit health plan that believes healthcare is more than coverage. It's about caring. From supporting the American Heart Association to making arts and wellness accessible for all, Western Health Advantage truly delivers healthcare with heart. Learn more at westernhealth.com. I'm proud to welcome our newest partner, CORE, Executive Leadership and Comprehensive Support Services, working in it so you can work on it. Visit cxore.com. When most of us think about Goodwill, we picture the blue sign, a donation drop-off, and maybe a quick browse for a bargain if there's a retail store attached to the drop-off point. The brand has become synonymous with a place you take things to donate. Take it to Goodwill. It could mean any charity. It's kind of like, give me a Kleenex instead of a tissue, or put a Band-Aid on it when you really mean an adhesive bandage, right? In this episode, I wanted to get behind that familiar brand and talk about what really happens to all that stuff we bring to Goodwill and the impact it has on people's lives in the communities they serve. I'm joined by CEO Bryan Wagner and Workforce Development Coordinator, Job Coach, Gabriel Noriega. Bryan walks us through a $100 million regional operation, 34 stores, 4 outlets, 17 donation centers, and 1,700 employees, funded 99% by sales of donated goods, all built around one mission: helping people overcome barriers to employment. Gabriel shares his own story of coming in as a visually impaired job seeker and now coaching others through resumes, interviews, skills training, and on-the-job experience. If you've ever said, "I'll just take it to Goodwill," and wondered what happens next, or how those donations translate into more than 5,000 people a year getting support, this conversation will give you a very different way to see that blue logo on the corner. Bryan Wagner, Gabriel Noriega, welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network.
Thank you for having us, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us. Good to be here. Good to meet you.
Goodwill is not an unfamiliar organization for a variety of reasons, one of them being it's 120 years old. But it's a little bit different in Sacramento, even though it's a legacy institution and has all that branding. How long has it been in Sacramento?
Sure. Goodwill has been in Sacramento since 1937. That's 88 years.
Well, close to that 120, right?
Yeah. Quite a long time. Yes.
And Bryan, what have you seen in those 88 years?
Well, that's half my age. I'm 44. So
tell us a little bit about the organization as it exists today.
Sure. So, as mentioned, we've been around since 1937. We cover a large territory. We go from Redding down to Elk Grove, and then from Davis all the way to Reno and Carson City. We have about 1,700 employees. We have 34 stores, 4 outlets, and 17 donation centers. And it's all tied to our mission, which is to help people overcome barriers to gaining employment.
You are a logistics company in some way, shape, or form. That's a retail location with 34 stores is a big operation.
Yes.
Plus.
Yep.
How does it all function? How do you manage all that?
It's difficult, but to tell you the truth, I have such a great team that helps manage the day-to-day operations. I mean, not only do we have retail, but we have the donation collection centers, we have a transportation department, we have a maintenance department, and then we have the support departments that handles all of the HR, the IT, and the accounting. So it's quite the operation. It's a large operation, and there's a lot of people that are working hard each and every day. We're open 7 days a week with the exception of a few holidays. So it's a very busy operation.
Would you compare yourself? I mean, most people see Goodwill as the retail side of things because that's, the consumer facing part. So you are this massive retail operation, relatively speaking, with a whole nother purpose behind it. It's not just as a retail operation, you could be a successful entity as a thrift store reseller, but you're much more than that. And I think what we see is, you're like the Kleenex of drop-off stuff. Take it to Goodwill. Well, yeah, okay, there you go. You take it to Goodwill. We don't really know what happens behind that, or Band-Aid, it's Goodwill. Tell us a little bit about what the mission is behind all those drop-off locations and those retail locations.
Absolutely. So at Goodwill, our mission services are all about helping people build long-term success. It's not just getting a job, but it's keeping it and growing from there.
Mhm.
So there's 4 core areas that we focus on. Number 1 being vocational services. That's everything from skills assessments to training to job placement and career counseling. We help people identify their strengths, build the skills necessary that employers are looking for in order for them to find meaningful work. Second, we have advocacy and referral services. So, we partner with various community organizations. So if you came to us and said, "Hey, I'm homeless," or "I need education support or legal support," we partner with community organizations that would be able to help you find that support that you need, which would address the barrier that you're facing.
Mm-hmm.
Third, we have work experience. We offer job training, on-the-job training, internships, and apprenticeships with the idea of you getting a chance to work side by side with folks who have been in the business for quite some time. And, if you're a good fit within retail or our donation center, we're going to find you a spot. If you're not a good fit for retail, we don't just leave you hanging.
Mm-hmm.
We partner with other for-profit employers and nonprofit community partners with the idea of finding a job where you would be a good fit and eventually become successful.
So not only within your own infrastructure do you have the ability to bring people into employment, but you also help them find employment in any way, shape, or form if it doesn't fit your infrastructure somewhere else.
Yes.
And I understand you also have a resume service and a job interview process. And
we do. Yeah. So like part of our job readiness training is we help people build resumes. We help them with their interview skills. We offer digital literacy, financial literacy. What's very cool about our corporate office is we have a lot of computers downstairs. So you don't have to be a client of ours. You can just drop in and say, "Hey, Gabriel, I need help writing a resume," and somebody from our mission services team will be available to help you write that resume. Or
having nothing to do with the organization, just
right.
looking for help.
Yep, absolutely. And it's all about serving our community and helping people become successful and achieve their dreams.
I'm sure that's something many people did not know existed.
They do not.
Yes.
A lot of people do not know that. They just, they think Goodwill is just a retail entity and the buck stops there.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, we have this whole mission services component, and that's what makes us great is all of the programs and services that we're offering. It's wonderful just to be able to get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah. I'm going to look over at Gabriel now for a second to ask him what his process was. Gabriel, what was it? What was your relationship with Goodwill? Because you were in college, you graduated from American River College, was it?
Yes, I did both Sac City and Los Rios. I didn't graduate. I just, took a lot of courses there, but
Okay.
couldn't pass stats. So,
Ah, good enough.
Yeah.
But what brought you to Goodwill? How did you end up there?
For me, I was done with college
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to find employment. So I was with the Department of Rehabilitation. So my DR counselor referred me over to Goodwill.
Uh-huh.
And at first I was like, oh, Goodwill, like the retail store? Because that's all I knew,
Yeah, right.
But no, she's like, no, they do job coaching on there. They help you, build all the employment documentation that you need, and they can help you find employment. And I was like, oh wow, I did not know that. So it was
Right.
it was spring of 21 when I went there, and had a good job coach, and yeah, it was incredible, amazing that all the services that I was getting, all the skills I didn't have. I didn't know how to interview, or I thought it was just a resume, but there's so much things that goes into it, which, cover letters and follow-up letters, and got to do follow-up phone calls after you interview. Yeah, just learning all of that. And then with time, that was like in May of 21. By September, I was able to take those skills, and I got a job at another retail store, and I was able to use everything that my job coach taught me and employment. And I was there for 2 years. And I also wanted to get an office job just because I know being visually impaired and working retail it's not easy. So I called my job coach again, and then I was able to go back there. And then they were rebuilding the mission service side of things, and having skills and being visually impaired and having skills in JAWS and Braille and stuff like that. They had clients that needed those skills to work with them. And then July 5th of 23, I came from my job coaching appointment, and that's where they presented me with an offer letter.
Okay, great.
And I was there ever since, working in an office setting, something where I didn't have to no longer hide my disability. When I used to work at the other previous employee, I would hide my disability. I didn't tell them I was visually impaired until after I got the job. Because before that, I would disclose that and I never got the job. Or I have paratransit park around the corner, and because I'll be embarrassed getting off that bus and seeing, well, what's wrong with him. That's the way they think. So when I got hired from Goodwill, they don't discriminate. Everybody's welcome. And I felt I could be myself, and I didn't have to hide being visually impaired. So it made my job it made it less stressful to work, being able to be myself and being accepted.
So what is the title? What is it you do today?
I am a workforce developer coordinator.
Okay.
So, and I also do job coaching. So I'm cross-trained. So when I first got hired, I was working with the Good U program, which is basically teaching some courses, which is retail customer service, nonprofit case management, custodial, and office administration. So I worked in that. We would receive clients from Department of Rehab authorizations. And then after that, I was able to do job coaching. So the program where I came in as a participant, where I was taught how to do resumes and cover letters and follow-up letters and all that job search and stuff like that. Now I'm a job coach there as well. And now I just got into doing a situational assessment and adult work experience, which is basically adult work experience is kind of like an internship. It's 100 hours. And we either work in one of our retail stores or at the corporate office, and they gain the skills. And and then the other one is situational assessment, where it's basically evaluating to see if they're ready for competitive employment. And that one's 40 hours. So yeah, so I do a little bit of all that.
You got your hands full there.
Yeah. It keeps me busy for sure.
So Bryan, and I can just see you looking at Gabriel as he's speaking, just with a sense of pride of his accomplishments. What is his interface in the organization? Where does he fit in terms of programs and services that you offer? Let's kind of walk through those that maybe are the most significant.
Yeah. So, as mentioned, job coaching and Gabriel just does a fantastic job at doing that. There's a lot of people that come in that just don't have confidence in their abilities. And it's a beautiful thing to see, to hear Gabriel's testimony and where he came from and what his thoughts were about Goodwill prior to joining the organization. And Gabriel's just one of those guys that's going to motivate somebody. They're going to come in the door. They don't have confidence. They don't have the necessary skill set to go out there and do a job. And where Gabriel plays a role is just taking them under his wing and being that resource for them, coaching them to eventually become successful, which, the hope would be, somebody gaining employment at one of our stores. And it's okay if they're not necessarily a good fit for retail because we can help them gain employment elsewhere. But Gabriel does a great job at encouraging people, and I mean, it's pretty inspirational what his story and where he's been and where he's at now and what the future holds for him.
Well, especially with the resources that you've got and the support of the organization, I mean, you can climb and continue to grow within the organization as opportunities present themselves.
Absolutely.
And you'll have a track record from, people of success that have gone through, your support.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very cool. If we take a step back for a second, because I think we all wonder, a lot of us will say, okay, we'll just bring it to Goodwill. Sometimes you get, the wrong stuff. You don't really need it. Tell us a little bit about the stuff, because that is one of the employment opportunities as well. It's working at one of the collection facilities. But what happens to the stuff when it gets dropped off at Goodwill?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people wonder that. And so it's a really cool process. So we take in donations at our stores and donation collection centers. And what we do is we evaluate every item to see if it's sellable. If it is sellable, then we're going to place it at one of our stores, which goes through a 5-week rotation. And so how we price that item is by using the good, better, best model. So think of a shirt from Target, for example. That would be considered a good item. Maybe a pair of jeans from Kohl's, that would be considered a better item. And then a suit coat from Nordstrom's would be considered best. And so, like I said, once everything is priced, it goes to the sales floor for 5 weeks. If it does not sell at the store, then that item goes to our outlet where it is significantly discounted and sold by the pound. And so you could see the real value is ensuring an item sells at the stores. And then from there, if it does not sell at the outlet, then it goes through what we call our salvage stream, and it is sold in bulk to various customers that we have who either recycle or repurpose those items. One of the things that I do want to mention is, and that people don't really know, is that we are deeply committed to environmental sustainability. So what people don't know is that every single year, Goodwills collectively keep millions of pounds of product from going into the landfills, which is really cool when you talk about environmental sustainability. And so the idea, going back to the idea of, everything selling at our stores, if we are able to sell most of our product through our stores, what that means, that's more money being poured into our mission, which is very important to us.
And you said millions of pounds being prevented from landfill. Did I see 61 million pounds is a yearly intake?
It's around that number. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
It's quite a bit.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
That comes through.
Yes.
You have a lot of tentacles into the community. And I think we touched on a few with how Gabriel is interfacing. Tell us, who are some of those collaborative partners?
Sure.
Department of Rehabilitation being one of them, obviously, right?
Right. And so we're fortunate to partner with several great organizations across our region that share our mission of helping people find meaningful work And one of our key partners is the California Department of Rehabilitation. And so they refer individuals to us, and we provide job readiness training, things like resume writing, interview skills, and digital literacy, along with hands-on work experience and job placement support. We also partner with Sacramento Employment and Training Agency to serve youth ages between 18 and 24, people that have barriers to education and employment. And through that partnership, we provide case management, job placement services, job readiness training as well.
How about organizations that you reach out to or outreach for opportunities? Does that occur from you in or from them to you? And I'm thinking just other nonprofits and or retailers. I imagine it's a broad swath of people that you interface with because you've got all these people coming out of your programs. Are there any that you can mention here?
Yeah, so we have a variety of nonprofit partners that we partner with. One that comes to mind is Golden Sierra.
Yep.
I remember when I was the CFO, we partnered with Golden Sierra, and they had a candidate who had accounting experience, and we brought her on to our department and trained her in the field of accounts payable and accounts receivable. And she ended up being very successful with our organization and moved on to actually run her own bookkeeping business. So we have a variety of nonprofit partners that we partner with, and in how we source them, either they reach out to us through our website or we go to them. We have a director of mission services that's out and about in the community that makes partnerships with other organizations.
Based on how much I've seen you, I would have assumed that was you.
No, I'm trying to be out and about more often. It's kind of interesting. Being in CFO land, you're in the office a lot more crunching the numbers, but now in CEO land, it's all about, making partnerships in the community and with the idea of doing big things.
Yeah. And I'd like to stress for those who are listening too, if you are a nonprofit and you have an interest in some of these services, to take advantage of them, because some organizations can't do that. They just don't have the ability or the depth to do it. Whereas you have it as a provision. It's a service. It's a pro bono free service for somebody to take advantage of these assets, which is really wonderful to hear.
Absolutely.
We'll continue with Bryan Wagner and Gabriel Noriega, both from Goodwill, right after we hear from the people who make this program possible.
We are really excited to be part of the family and contribute to the work that you all are doing. CORE provides fractional and interim executive services, along with comprehensive back-office solutions that go into our client sites and do the work to give them the capacity they need in order to move through transitions, whether that's planned or unplanned. Or companies also work with our accounting and finance, back-office solutions, human resources, technology, and administration. The reason why our back office solutions add value is because we save them time and money, anywhere from 20 to 30% of what they would spend on that back office solution. We work in it so they can actually work on it. CXORE.com, and contact me directly at DTEAT@CXORE.com.
If you're interested in learning more about how CORE may help your organization, visit CXORE.com.
Hello, this is Scott Thomas with Cap Trust in our Sacramento office. I specialize in working with local nonprofits and associations. Annually, we survey private and public nonprofit organizations across the country to better understand challenges they see in today's environment. In our more recent survey, we heard concerns about proper board governance, mission-aligned investment, and how to implement alternative investments. If you would like a copy of the survey or to discuss your organization, look me up, Scott Thomas at captrust.com.
At Western Health Advantage, healthcare isn't just a service. It's a shared value. As a nonprofit leader, you need a health plan that understands the importance of mission-driven work. Western Health Advantage is a local, not-for-profit health plan that supports organizations like yours with affordable, flexible coverage options for your team. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to community, supporting nonprofits like the American Heart Association, Sacramento Ballet, and the Crocker Art Museum's Pay What You Wish Sundays. With access to top-tier providers and dedicated local support, Western Health Advantage is more than a health plan. It's a partner in your purpose. Explore your options today at westernhealth.com. Western Health Advantage, healthcare with heart, designed for those who give back. Let's talk a little bit about funding. You were CFO for 7 years. There were a couple bumpy years in there. It seems as if the organization is now not only on track, but really excelling. So what was it? What's changed? What are you doing differently that maybe you weren't doing 4, 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah. So, being in the seat of a CFO, I feel like I was very fortunate. It gives you the ability to see where the challenges are and the changes that need to be made in order to turn an organization around. So one of the things that we realized is that we were selling the wrong product in our stores. We were selling a lot of new goods. And when people come to Goodwill, they don't necessarily shop for new goods, right? They're thrifting. They're going for that treasure hunt. They're searching for value. That's what they want. But just to give you an example, we were selling dog toys at our stores. And could you imagine
New dog toys?
New dog toys. Now, I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but we leave that to the pet stores. They're really good at selling dog toys. And so one of the strategies was to get back to our core competency, which is selling donated goods. That's what we're in business for. You bring your donations to us, we sell the donated goods, and then those sales go directly to support our mission. Another thing that was part of this turnaround strategy is we noticed that our prices were too high. And we had raised our prices last year and didn't really have much data to support those price increases. And so we looked at our prices, we used the data that we have, and then we introduced some new lower price points, which have proved to be very successful. Our customers are happier now. Our transaction counts have gone up. Items sold have gone up. It's truly amazing to see what has happened just by making those two shifts in our operation. And I do want to point out that, I want to be clear that none of this happened because of me alone. I want to thank our teams. That I have a really, really good team. And they work very hard, and all of them have played a monumental role in turning the organization around.
Tell me about the actual funding, because I think from the consumer standpoint, we're looking going, okay, the retail stores fund everything.
Right.
But that's probably not the case.
So, 99% of our funding comes from sales from donated goods.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the other 1% comes from grants and professional fees, which is derived from the Department of Rehabilitation. And then we have unrestricted cash donations as well, more along the lines of roundup at our registers. And so what we're really trying to push in the upcoming year is we're training our cashiers to have a conversation with the customers as they're checking them out, right? And to really share with the customers what it is that Goodwill is doing. This is our mission. Here's our stated purpose, and trying to help the customer understand that, their purchase isn't just going to this for-profit organization. It's going to Goodwill that has a mission component. And here are the services that we are out there performing because of that purchase and donation that is being made.
So retail funds 99%. That's an envious position, I will tell you, for many nonprofits, because you're not reliant on federal grants, state grants, that grant cycle that gets so tough, especially today with the uncertainty of everything that's going on. And you mentioned the unrestricted funds coming from the roundup at the registers, which is all self-inflicted. It's self-generated, which is another asset because you don't have to totally rely. And then you do get donations as well, because people who like the mission are willing to, to support it.
Right.
What's the total budget that you work with?
So our total budget that we work with is about $100 million.
Okay. So you are a big organization by any means. You're a big business.
We are.
By any means. What do you see looking forward short term?
And so what I see looking forward short term, what we are pushing, there's a few things that we're pushing. One is just the community engagement side, and just getting the message out there about our mission services, what it is that we do with the donations that come in and the purchases that are being made in our stores. And, we're pushing several training initiatives, not only in our stores, but our donation collection centers as well, because what people don't understand is that donations of product is the lifeblood of the organization. And if you really break it down and think about it, without donations, we wouldn't have anything to sell in our stores. And if we didn't have anything to sell in our stores, then we wouldn't have a mission.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a job.
Right.
And so it's very important for us to be able to talk about that out in the community. We're also wanting to expand our footprint, our retail footprint within the territory that we operate in. There are for-profit thrift operators that are out there that are competing for our business. They're competing for our donations. And we are going to be very aggressive when it comes to real estate, because the one thing that we have over them, our advantage, is our mission. They don't have a mission. Who are they? They may donate.
For-profit business.
Right. They may give a portion of their profits, but we're actually changing lives. We're transforming lives through our workforce development services that we're offering. And so I feel like we have a competitive advantage from that standpoint. So those are the two big things for us that we're pushing next year in the next 3 years.
Oh, and you certainly have a branding advantage.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't know the name?
Right. Everybody knows the name.
Right. If we look at the way things are today, and somebody comes in and says, Bryan, I heard your story with Gabriel and I really like it. If you can give me a good enough reason, I'm going to give you a blank check to do something with the organization. What would it look like? What would you do? And I'm talking more, our region, Sacramento, not Goodwill holistically, but just in the Sacramento region. What would that look like if you just got this unlimited funding?
Unlimited funding. Wow. Boy, that would be great, Yeah, no, if money were no object, I would love to build a workforce development innovation hub. And that's a place that brings together job training, entrepreneurship, and creativity all under one roof. It would be very cool. It'd be a space where people could not only learn skills and find jobs, but also develop new products, technology, and ideas. And just imagine, an incubator where someone who once came to Goodwill for job readiness training, someone that, came to us, they can learn how to design, build, and launch something of their own. Maybe it's a product that solves a real world problem or a piece of technology that helps people who have barriers.
Mm-hmm.
So, we bring employers, educators, and innovators together to co-create and eventually with the idea of moving people from job seekers to job creators.
I love that concept. And I think getting that out there, there's people who are thinking the same thing. What would this look like? For people who have been challenged or have disabilities, there's really not a makerspace for them.
Right.
With all the accoutrements of what you're referencing, which are the services that you provide. I think that seems doable to me.
Yes.
It really does. And I can see that in the not too distant future. Gabriel, I'm going to throw it over to you. As you are in the environment,
Mm-hmm.
You're actually working in the realm of Goodwill and the services that you provide. From your perspective, what would be really neat to see if it didn't rely on having to be budgeted?
The same mission, try to just serve as much people as we can, just helping them achieve their goals, right? Their dreams, being successful, of second opportunity and getting their confidence back.
Mm-hmm.
So just continue to do that, and just the more people we're served, the more lives we change, the better. Right?
Better for the community. Yeah.
Better for the community, better for, our organization. And, that's at the end of the day, it's all about numbers and just changing the most lives for the better. And, that's the most important.
Bryan, I don't know the number. I didn't ask you this earlier, so you may not have it off the top of your head. Do you know roughly how many people go through the program each year?
So each year, I believe last year we served over 5,000 people.
5,000 people
5,000 people.
in some way, shape, or
In
form
some
came
way,
through
shape, or form. Right.
That's
You
an
know, and
amazing
that
number.
could be somebody that just comes through our doors at the corporate office and asking from resume help to the individuals, the participants through our SETA training programs, through the Department of Work or Department of Rehabilitation.
Okay. And SETA is that Sacramento Employment and Training.
Sacramento Employment Training Agency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now come back to reality. You know, our big warehouse with the incubator and maker spaces is on hold. What's the greatest need that you've got?
I would say our greatest need is donations. Donations of product. Our mission is fueled by donations. It's powered by donations, and it's because of the generosity of the community that we're able to do what we do. As mentioned, without donations, we wouldn't have product to sell in our stores, and if we didn't have anything to sell in our stores, we wouldn't have our mission. Also, what we're always looking for are partnerships, expand our partnerships within the communities. So the people that we serve, when it comes to placing them in jobs, we can place them at an organization where we would know they would be a hit, assuming that they wouldn't be successful at our one of our retail stores. And so donations and partnerships are always something that we're trying to expand.
Yeah, and again, I'll reiterate that donations, we're not looking for monetary donations, although, yes, if they came in, that's fine. But we're talking about product
Correct.
stuff.
Yes.
And today, people seem to be so short-lived with their stuff that they turn it in. I mean, have you seen a reasonable influx? Is it up, down? What's happening with the donations?
Yeah, no, there's definitely ebbs and flows, and we've seen an uptick this year. I will say in an economy where you have inflation, people are more conscientious on what they're spending their money on. And so when they come to Goodwill, they're looking for that value, right? They have, because a dozen eggs they're going to cost you $10 to $12, right? Their purchasing power has decreased. And so coming to our stores, they're going to find value, and they're going to have more purchasing power, and they're going to get an item that, it may be good, better, best, but they're going to get something of value to them that is going to go a long way. And so on the donation side, we've seen an uptick in donations this year, and we want to continue to see that uptick in future years as well. The thing, you hear nonprofit and people think, oh, they're not supposed to make a profit. But in reality, like you said, we still have to make a profit to stay in business.
It's a business.
It's just a tax status at the end of the day, and so it's important to run your operation like a business, but also be mindful of like, okay, this money needs to go toward, providing services, and what our stated purpose is. So,
yeah, we see a lot of people who will come through, and it's not a vow of poverty because you're a nonprofit. The work that you're doing is every bit as significant as, a for-profit business.
Yeah.
And so it should be treated like a for-profit with a marketing director.
Yes.
Who's out there to help you perpetuate the mission and tell the story.
Yep.
And make sure that people know what's happening and the good that's happening through the organization. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think the average individual just doesn't realize.
Right.
That when you bring it to Goodwill, what happens to it? Well, I get a deduction of my taxes.
Yeah.
So when I throw it away, I'll give it to
Right.
Goodwill. Does part of your plan involve more retail locations in outlying areas or in denser populated city areas?
It's a combination of both, denser and outlier areas. If we identify a location that doesn't make sense to put a retail operation in, we would consider putting a donation center at that location. What we really look for is locations and specifically targeted zip codes where there may be higher quality items, and because those items are we can get better pricing at our stores for those items. And so we try to be very strategic on where we place those donation centers, because we want, with the idea of capturing as many donations as possible.
Sure. High traffic areas and
high traffic, visibility, all of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And are those leased locations typically?
Leased locations, correct.
Okay.
Yep. We lease most of our locations. We own about 17 locations, and those properties were all purchased some years ago, 10 plus years ago.
So now I'm going to ask you something. We're going to completely shift from the organization to you personally. This is a big job, $100 million business. You're a young guy. And you look younger than you really are.
Really?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. I'll write the check to you later.
Coming from an older man, right? But as you look at the responsibility that you've got, you carry it. It just is. It's endemic in people who are passionate about their business. It can be a 24/7 thing. And it's hard for you to get away from it. You drive by a corner, there's one of your stores. You can't miss it. It's either a drop-off location or a retail location. What do you do to relax? How do you get out of the mindset of, oh boy, I've got to make sure Gabriel's doing his thing,
Well, it's because of folks like Gabriel that I'm able to have some kind of relaxation in my life. That's a great question. And honestly, it is hard to relax being in the CEO role, especially in your first year,
Mhm.
right? And you're in this turnaround phase, and it is 24/7, and you want to make sure that this organization survives and is in business for the long term. But ultimately, what keeps me grounded is my faith and my family. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and it's because of him that I'm able to do what I do, and he keeps me grounded, especially in those days that are very, very long, which happen often. But also my family too. I have a beautiful wife and two boys, 15 and 13, and I have a daughter that's 3. And so I find myself on football fields, baseball diamonds, basketball courts,
And changing diapers.
Yeah, golf courses, and changing diapers and chasing her around the park. And so I'm very fortunate to have them in my life. And then lastly, what I've come to realize is, I used to be in the Marines. And so physical fitness plays a role in being successful. And I've started getting back into the gym and trying to focus on myself, because at the end of the day, if I can't lead myself, I can't lead a successful organization. And so I have to be able to lead myself and get back into it so I can be, mentally sharp and physically in shape.
The oxygen mask is taken first by the adult,
right?
Which is so important.
Absolutely.
And your mission and service and operation are similar to, a Salvation Army, faith-based, Volunteers of America, faith-based, these big, iconic organizations, which I'm really pleased to hear, because I just think it's something that people need more of, in their lives, in the country, in our operation, in our organizations, all the way around. Gabriel, how about you? What's fun for you? What do you do?
For me, it's just working out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a gym rat. I like to work out and just chill, trying new places to eat, cooking. That's pretty much it.
Good.
Yeah, so
Good.
that's how I relax. Yeah.
I wish I could try new places to eat.
Yeah, right.
The only thing my wife feeds me is salads nowadays. So, yeah.
How about closing thoughts? Anything you want to leave the audience with?
At the end of the day, I'm just really proud of the people we've served and the lives that we've changed through our workforce development programs. I mean, it's just truly amazing to see, and I feel very fortunate to be part of it. Every day we see people gaining confidence, learning new skills, and becoming self-sufficient. And I think for both Gabriel and I, that's what makes the work well worth it. And so I just want people to also remember that Goodwill isn't just some retail store and the buck stops there. We have this mission services side of us, and we provide vocational services, advocacy and referral services, work experience services, and then other indirect services such as transportation, technology, and those kind of things. So I want people to know that we're out there doing great things. We're transforming lives through the power of work, and it's a beautiful thing. So, and lastly, I just want to thank our community. I want to thank our donors, shoppers, employees, and partners for believing in what we do. And, none of this happens without them.
Yeah.
And, together we're giving people second chances, strengthening families, and building a stronger region through the power of work.
Gabriel, anything on your end?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that if you need any assistance with job coaching, building resumes, cover letters, mock interviews, come see us. If you want to upscale and learn a trade like retail customer service or janitorial, we got you covered. All those skills that we provide, and come see us. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and we're here to serve the public and help you reach your goals and dreams.
Well, there's your call to action.
There it is.
he just laid it all out in the close.
Yeah.
Love
Gabriel's the closer.
Very, very good. Well, gentlemen, thank you for helping us better understand what happens with all that stuff that people drop off in realizing that it's not just a retail operation, that there really is a mission behind it, and it's serving an incredible amount of people. I mean, 5,000 people a year is incredible. That's a huge, huge number. Congratulations on the work that you do, Gabriel. Congratulations on the role and the skill that you're providing for the people who are coming through the organization. And thanks for you and your team for what you're providing the community. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. We hope today's episode inspired you and gave you a deeper look into the work of our local nonprofits. If you believe in our mission to amplify their voices, please take a moment to leave us a positive review and share this episode with a friend. It helps more people discover the incredible work happening in our community. Don't miss future episodes. Subscribe to our weekly updates and monthly newsletter at nonprofpod.com. And if you're part of a nonprofit that would like to be featured, we'd love to hear from you. Just visit the guest tab on our website. The Nonprofit Podcast Network is recorded and produced at Hear Me Now Studio with generous support from our founding partners, CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations serving Sacramento, Roseville, and Folsom, and online at captrust.com. And Western Health Advantage, local care, community impact. Find the plan that fits at westernhealth.com. And to our newest partner, CORE, Interim and Fractional Executive Leadership, Comprehensive Back Office Support Services. We work in it so you can work on it. Visit cxore.com.